Nick in Reno. Nick, hello. You're on the Tom Sullivan Show.
Hey, Tom. It's great to be with you.
Likewise.
I don't know if I would have a contrary opinion, but I think that it all comes down to whether or not we as United States citizens want to keep the moral high ground in these arguments. And I hear things like what Mitt Romney says in the debates, like, oh, we got to be the shining city on the hill and be a beacon. How are you going to be a beacon when you're torturing people and when you're putting them down to the very crux of their existence?
It gets down to a question of what's torture.
Well, waterboarding, I don't think, when you put the fear of death into somebody, people have drowned with waterboarding, so it is a lethal thing. You can die from it. You'll asphyxiate. You won't get the oxygen that your body needs. So it's pushing people to that limit. And you cannot say, as Romney always likes to, he's kind of talking out both sides of his mouth, saying, we need to be able to torture these people, all options are on the table, and yet still say, we're the shining city on the hill, we're the beacon, we're the example, be like us. Because if we're torturing people, we're just using force.
There's a good liberal lawyer, a very famous one, Alan Dershowitz, teaches at Harvard Law, and I remember after 9/11 they came out and said, well, we're going to do all these things to get the information from them. And he brought up, it was the first time I've ever seen him say anything contrary to what you would expect him to say from the left. And he said, if somebody was holding your family and you knew that they were going to be killed in a half an hour and you have somebody in your custody who knows where they are and you can go save them, what would you do? And Dershowitz said, I would use anything and everything to save my family. Isn't that what we're doing? Save the American family. How many more Americans would? What if they were going to come attack us the next day? This was a sense of urgency. It was 2002.
Well, that what if is kind of what caused me to post the Prime Minister from Israel's comments on your Facebook page, the one that says, Iran never said wipe us off the map, and they admit that sort of stuff. But we're so hyped up and ready for a war. We get this in our minds that we're under such imminent threat that you get Santorum up on the stage saying, oh, it's World War III, it's cataclysmic, it's the end of the world. Yeah, people are going to make bad decisions on bad intel, but torture gives you more bad intel. I know, you've got the bin Laden recent data to say, well, you got bin Laden because of that data, but you also had bin Laden pinned down before, many years earlier, and he got away. So I don't know if you saw the show 60 Minutes last night, but I'll tell you, they're arguing about whether or not the information from KSM under torture, which did bring up the courier's name, and now there's others that are saying, no. In fact, I got a letter from Dianne Feinstein where she's all upset about this, saying, we knew all about the courier before KSM. None of that helped us whatsoever. So now they're arguing about whether or not the information was helpful or not helpful. So that should make the point a little bit more that if Americans want to stand on the moral high ground, and if Romney doesn't want to be a total hypocrite and say we're a shining city on the hill, we're the beacon, we're the example, you can't be torturing people. Because all that does is just say, well, the United States is powerful economically and militarily, and they're willing to use both to crush smaller countries that disagree with their ideology.
But that brings up you asked the perfect question. Do you want to stand on the moral high ground, or do you want to save lives?
I do. With my Christian faith, I believe that the reason America has done so well is because it has been a Christian nation and kept close to the standards of God. If you start using bully force on other nations, you lose God's protection. Okay. And then, like Tocqueville said, you cease to be great, you cease to be good, you cease to be great. It's the same principle. If we lose the moral high ground by torturing other countries and other soldiers, we've given it up. It wasn't stolen from us. By our choices, we've given it up by engaging in force.
You know that there are a number of leaders that are terrorist sympathizers or terrorist countries that look upon us as that's a weakness, and therefore that is why they have attacked us.
Yeah, you know how I want to undermine those guys? I've got brothers in the military. We talk about this all the time. The way I want to undermine them is with your educated Muslim women. Get that out on the Internet everywhere that you can pump it into their servers. Pump out that message that, yes, you are free to practice your religion in this country. That's what undermines the dictators, and that's what undermines the Cuban people. When you free trade with them and you share these ideas with them on the Internet, that's what breaks them down. Not military force.
thinking the same thing when I read this op-ed by Dr. Kanta Ahmed. Everybody keeps saying, hey, where are the Muslims that are trying to put down and refute the radicals within their faith? Here she is, and it's a local op-ed piece in a local newspaper. I've never seen it nobody's picked it up.
Well, where are the Christians that are denouncing the Westboro Baptist Church? There's a few out there. They just don't get mainstream media press because it's not a huge story. There's a lot of people out there that want peaceful resolution to these things and not necessarily military conflicts. And that's why Romney is really two-faced on the issue, and he doesn't represent me and my will. I mean, I'm a Ron Paul supporter, and I think that stance of peaceful foreign policy based on pure economic laws, we can't afford it.
Now what are you going to do? Because Obama... One of the things that was brought up in the 60 Minute show was that by Mr. Rodriguez was, well, it's interesting that we're not supposed to do any of these enhanced techniques. We'll just go ahead and kill them.
Yeah, it's hypocrisy. That's force. That's what happens when you use force
we're doing.
in your foreign policy.
That's what we're doing.
Your only option is kill them.
He's going, we don't get any intelligence. We get nothing to try to stop or save people's lives. All we do is we just kill them. So do you want to kill them or do you want to give them some water?
If they're willing to die for their beliefs, they've already made that decision.
What about that moral high ground?
They have chosen to kill other innocent people.
So, all right, yes, they have. So
we keep it.
So putting a bullet in their skull is better than giving them water to make them worry about their future.
Well, it all depends on if they are the aggressors or if we are the aggressors.
No, I think your moral argument is very difficult to make here.
No, it's not. Don't be the aggressor. Don't initiate United States force on other nations.
We responded to an attack.
And we went to which country? We went to Iraq.
All right, fine. But I'm not going to go debate all of that. My point is that when you are waterboarding KSM versus putting a bullet in his head, which one is the morally more superior?
I'm glad I don't have to make that decision, but from my armchair quarterback, not being in the military, I would say let's keep the moral high ground and keep torture off the table. Kill them. Shoot them. If they're willing to die for their beliefs, shoot them.
All right.
Don't torture them to get bad intel data.
All right. Nick, I appreciate the call as always, but that's what it comes down to.